1, 0, and liftoff.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Mission Control. This is your host, Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design, and we launch brands. Today, we have in studio the one and only Dora Thagouras of Clarity 13, founder and CEO. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Ramon. Let me start by sincerely thanking you and the entire team for having me here today.
Oh, we're excited. Thank you. It's our pleasure. And I also like to introduce the right-hand man on the soundboard, our Director of Web Development, Mr. Jorge Pezo Candelario.
How's it going, everyone? I wear many hats because I've got it like that.
Ooh,
Wow. Whoa.
Okay.
There we go. So, Dora, we're going to dive right in. You know, Clarity 13, you're helping companies, treat their employees better, learn how to build good culture and all that. But why is it so important for companies to take care of their employees?
Okay. So the reason it's so important for companies to take good care of their employees, there's so many reasons. Like the first is we can't ask our employees to provide an experience for our customers that we are not providing to them. That's really where it starts. If we don't treat our employees well, then they may say that they're treating their clients well, but they don't feel the desire or the passion to do so because they're not experiencing it themselves. So that's the shortest answer I can give you. And it's not because we want clients out of this. It's the right thing to do. It engages our employees. And the statistics really demonstrate that the number one thing that will pull an employee to a leader is care. They will not have that investment in you as their boss, as their leader, as the business owner, until they know that you care about them. And you can't just say that you care about them. You have to demonstrate that you care about them. What does that mean? It means that getting to know them, what's important to them, helping them, coaching them, celebrating them, taking the time in a routine way to give them feedback. If you say you're going to be meeting with them on a weekly, monthly, whatever the process is, you hold that meeting sacred. You give them your time, you give them your feedback, and you empower them to make really good decisions. There's so many ways that we can demonstrate that care, but the behavior has to be there. We can't say we take care of our employees, and then when they are struggling with something, we just say, oh, well, deadline is Friday, that's what you got to do. No, you need to hear them out and perhaps coach them or put them with somebody who's going to help them. So we have to demonstrate that care. Think about it in any relationship that you have, right? You're not going to want to help the person who doesn't care about you, right? Eventually, you're just going to bow out. You're not going to be there for them, etc. So taking care of our employees needs to be a daily experience in our behavior as leaders. I don't know if I could talk about this all day.
I'm loving it.
But
I mean,
there's so many reasons.
I agree. I mean, in short, it's good business.
It's good business.
Because
it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do. The idea that the client, the customer is always right. It is kind of comes into this conversation because that's like the I think of like some archetypes, like Smithers from The Simpsons, or Flintstones had, what was his name, Mr. Slate or Slately. Yep. These bosses that were just like toxic. Mm-hmm. Those were like what we grew up with, where you just went to work and your boss, just whatever your boss says. And just even the idea of boss, I don't even like to say that, right? Because now we're talking about leader, mm-hmm. and there's been a culture shift, I think, with each generation. And what are you finding in your experience? Is it trending towards like younger managers, or is it harder to teach an old dog new tricks? Like if you have some old school bosses, are they receptive to this idea that you've got to put your employees first, not your customers.
Yes. So the clients that hire me have some inclination that they need some help.
Yeah.
So I have that open door with them. Does everybody hire me? Unfortunately not, because the reality is, so my background is also human resources. My connections on LinkedIn are so many, thousands and thousands of people that I have probably either worked with or have been just around. We created long relationships. And the messages out there on LinkedIn are these days are honestly very grim about how employees are being handled. Not only employees, but even those who are looking for a job, even candidates are not being treated well. And at the end of the day, those are the messages that these companies are sending to their employees or to even candidates, that they think it's okay to ghost, for example. It's not okay. This is your brand. Your brand is your behavior. And so I think I already forgot the initial question, which was...
Well, like if the depending on the age or generation of the owners or the managers, are they less receptive to your teachings, or are you finding that it's shifting towards more employee-centric environments?
Right. I believe, though, that my clients have a desire to match their actions with their intent. So they want to be treating their employees well. They want to demonstrate care. The challenge is their behaviors have not caught up yet. Yeah. For the rest of the world, I think it's mixed. In all of the companies that I used to work for, it was also mixed. But the leaders who were the most successful, I promise you, are the ones who took care of their employees. The reason I launched Clarity 13 was to help more leaders do just that. The results of taking care of your employees is greater engagement, is greater empowerment, greater productivity, greater creativity in employees. They want to work hard for the people that take care of them. And they will go out of their way. They will work endless hours. And I don't think that is generational. I think that is connection. And if you can connect well with your employees, demonstrate how much you care for them, they will absolutely connect with you, and they will do anything for you that will drive engagement, drive results, drive ROI, drive your stock price.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I've heard it from some colleagues that I've worked with in really toxic environments, where that feeling on Sunday night is like dread that you've got to go back in. So it's also about creating an environment that you want to go into every day as a leader.
Absolutely right. Would you want to be working for you?
Yeah.
Is
That's
there,
a great question.
For some of our listeners who are business owners who might think, I think it's important to address like perception versus reality, right?
Sure.
I think as a business leader, you might think that you're doing fine. My employees are happy. I'm great. Are there any like KPIs or red flags that a business owner might want to pay attention to that could be signs that maybe they're not treating their employees the way that they think they are, that there's a disconnect there?
Yes. If you're measuring things, if you're at a stage in your business where you're measuring things like engagement, like how engaged are my employees? Engagement is are they bringing their heads and their hearts to work, right? And there are metrics that can do that. If you have those statistics and you actually are looking at them, they will show you. Other things that you will look at, clearly turnover is a good sign that maybe you're not treating your employees so well.
And to that point, just from a dollars and cents aspect, I've always heard it said, there's some statistic that's like it's 120% more expensive to train a new employee than to retain the ones that you have.
Well, it's about your 1.2, 1.3 times their salary to replace them. So investing, right? A lot of times people say, I don't have the time to really train and develop people. okay, then they're out there on their own. They're not aligned on your brand. They don't know how your company is succeeding compared to others. They're out there randomly saying stuff about your company. So if you don't have a really good interview process, an onboarding plan, it really starts with the interview. Then it's the onboarding.
Yeah.
Did you actually, like somebody starting on Monday, what have you done to prepare for them? Do they know that you care? How you demonstrate that you care is you've lined up a week or 2 weeks, or depending on how much time you have, for them to be fully onboarded. And onboarding is fun. You're investing in them. You're giving them a buddy. People, when they're left on their own and they don't even have somebody to go to lunch with on day one, what message are you sending to them? So create an onboarding plan. This was a huge differentiator for thousands of employees. When you can hire well, have a really solid onboarding plan, and then set up specific communication vehicles for that employee, for the team. It doesn't take a lot to treat employees well, to have them feel heard. And it doesn't mean that you're saying yes to everything. It's that you're actually present. You don't have your phone in front of you. You're having a two-way conversation. You're asking how their mom is or how their dog is. You genuinely care about them as a human being. It's not like, okay, can we run through your 5 key deliverables, Ramon? Where are you with all of these things? Okay, do better. There's a big difference, and it doesn't take much.
And no concern or awareness of what's going on in the home
their
front
life.
I mean, I think part of it, owners and leaders, I'm talking about business owners, would have to take some responsibility, look in the mirror, and to some extent, because I think a lot of us, I know myself included, can be the high D personality where we're assuming a lot. So you bring somebody on and you just going to assume they're going to just figure it out, jump right in. And then when a deadline's missed or something is not done your way, so to speak, you have to look, did we properly onboard this person? Did we show them the process that we expect?
Yes.
And oftentimes, I'm not saying I'm guilty of it all the time, but I think you bring somebody on and then it's like, all right, go ahead and do your thing, and I'm gonna go do my thing, and then it's like, well, we set them up for failure if we do that.
100%. They may know how to do the thing, right? We hired them for certain skills, but they don't know how to do the thing for you.
Right.
They don't know what matters. They don't know your values. You haven't probably exhibited your values if you have them, right? Because one of them might have something to do with people, how you treat people. Right. You're not showing them that. So they don't know how to do your thing, and they don't know that you care just yet. Mm-hmm. So they may then dial it in, but they're not going to be all in. Yeah. And that's one of my favorite phrases is you want your employees to be all in, then you need to be all in for them. And I understand firsthand as a business owner that we're busy, and we may think that, we've got this number one client coming in, we've got to be all ready for them. Okay, but plan, right? Plan. And those are the challenges that, all of us as business owners deal with. It's communication, it's proper planning, it's process, it's systems, it's role clarity, who does what in a business. So we have to walk the walk. We don't need to be perfect. Actually, can I share a little bit about that?
Absolutely.
Our employees don't expect us to be perfect. In fact, if you were, it could possibly make them like a little uncomfortable. They want to see that you're not perfect. Yeah. So if you missed a meeting or if you're running late, they want to see you as human. Own it. If you didn't handle something well with an employee, you know what? Let's say they called out and you needed them, right? Because it was a team, it was a project. You needed everybody to be full on that day, and they were legitimately sick. And maybe you didn't respond so well, like, I won't assume how
Put me
we
on the spot,
responded.
yeah.
Right? Maybe we didn't.
Jorge might volunteer some information.
Talk later, Jorge. Okay, so maybe you didn't. None of us do, right? That's actually how we learn how to be better leaders is by making those mistakes along the way. Then own it. You know what? Call them back when the dust is settled and say, I'm sorry. I really should have handled that better. Can I tell you where
That's humbling.
Oh my God. And they're going to be drawn to you even more. The leaders that I can remember in my career, and it's been a long one, have been the ones who have said, I'm sorry. I'm not great at this. You are good at this. Can you help me? Like the ones that are humble, and you talk about this, on your website about knowing what you're good at, knowing what you're not good at, and not being afraid to share that with your team.
Right. And it's also something to be said for modeling behavior. If you can't expect behavior that you're not exhibiting as a leader.
Nope.
They're watching.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, if that's how he handled it, then that's how we do it here. And it might not be the best way.
No, well, it's kind of like being a parent, right? I know in the early years of being a parent, oh my God, my children will remind me, not of all the good things that I said, the times where I lost it with them. And thank God there were more times that I didn't lose it.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Right. So just check ourselves and be genuine when we own it. Don't half own it either.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer too. Jorge will attest to it. Is just knowing what the shot is and communicating. Don't assume. Have a conversation. Talk it out. What's going on behind this? I see what happened here. I see what's not happening here. But what's really happening? And talk it out. And just you'll get to that place versus going right into disciplinary mode or angry mode or I don't care what's going on mode, because I don't think at the end of the day it creates the right environment if you're really talking about collaboration and teamwork.
You made me pause because that's exactly right. When you can ask the question because you've created the relationship or you are creating the relationship by asking the question, what's really going on? How can I help? You will often get tears in that situation. I've worked with people who are tough exterior. And then you ask them what's really going on and they shut the door and they'll tell you. And that moment where you genuinely are asking and they share, that's a bonding moment. So it's not so much that they were an hour late. There's a bigger picture, which gives you information as that owner, leader, that will also help you work with that employee,
Empathy.
Empathy.
We're going to end it there. And when we come back, we're going to hear all about how you started this amazing company.
Okay. Sounds good.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and share our show. That's Mission Control on all your favorite platforms.
Wondering what to do with your old smartphones or outdated computer equipment? Do you know what hackers can do with your sensitive personal data when you are leaving behind on these hard drives? The team at National E-Waste Services understands the importance of protecting sensitive information and the environment. Their services also include the safe and discreet disposal of battery banks, cables, phones, and more. For more information, visit nationalewasteservices.com.
3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Launch ratings.
And we're back. Please join me once again in welcoming Dora Thagouras, the founder and CEO of Clarity 13. Dora, welcome back.
Thank you.
Tell us your story. How did you start this amazing company?
Oh boy. Okay. I'm going to take you to how I'm going to take you there.
Take us back.
It really always starts, and you'll see this kind of in anything that I write. For me, okay, it'll be a big surprise. I'm Greek, and I grew up with my parents owning a Greek diner. I know that that's really shocking.
Why are there so many Greek diners? What is the...
Well, I do think that it is, it's part of our culture to feed and to nourish others. And we do tend to have a reputation of being really hard workers too. And it takes a lot to run a restaurant. It takes a lot to run any business, particularly I would say restaurant hospitality businesses. So I grew up in this diner, and at a young age, I somehow figured out that the way that I showed up and interacted with the customers, particularly the customers, but also the other employees, really could have a lasting effect on them. So I started making the connection. If I show up in a positive way, if I make people feel really welcome into this diner, create a great experience for the time that they are there, they're going to be happy. They're going to want to keep coming back to this diner. And that fascinated me. So this connection between my behavior, how I show up, and I didn't even know the word leadership when I was 8 years old. I think I may have started working at 5, but
That's a typical immigrant
yes,
story.
Yes, I feel like it was
Get to
5,
work.
but yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's all I knew was work. And my parents ended up divorcing, so it was my mother who raised my brother and I, and we didn't know, there was no option. We just worked.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that connection fascinated me. And so when I went to college, I wanted to study psychology because I wanted to understand human behavior at like the greatest level. I was always interested in people, how to help people, how to learn about how we behave as human beings, etc. So I have this degree in psychology, and I end up, because I'm not going to take you through every year of my life, I promise, but I end up literally starting a career post-college with Nine West.
The shoe company.
Nine West, the shoe company. And I started when I was 21 years old, and I started where all my friends were in corporate roles. I didn't have this need to go into corporate America just yet. I wanted to just help people, but help people create great environments that did great business. Similar to, I guess, the Cheers, right? You want to go where everybody knows your name. And there's something there. Like, you want to create those great environments. So
it's about the correlation with how you show up and then how the people feel when they come in.
Right. Thank you for saying that, Ramon. It has to do with our energy. Okay. And now I'll speak about it later. It's energy leadership. It's the way that I think that will create a feeling for me, that will create the environment and how I see other people and how I interact with them. And I'm actually emitting positive anabolic energy in that, and people feel it. So 22-year career with Nine West, started in stores. Literally, I was an assistant manager, a store manager in Boston. They relocate me. That's what takes me to Stamford, Connecticut. And I become a district manager. And I learned so much about people, driving business, and I made mistakes along the way. I remember running New York City. I was 25 years old, and I was running the #1 volume territory of the entire company.
Wow.
And I made mistakes. I did things like, I remember asking my managers who all of a sudden were calling out sick. I remember asking them, well, then you need to start bringing a doctor's note. Well, then I couldn't figure out why my managers weren't speaking to me at the next meeting. And I confided in a manager that I trusted and built a good relationship with, and I'll use her name. I said, Myrna, what's going on? She goes, Dora, can I be honest with you? I said, please. And she said, you asked everybody for a doctor's note, and that upset them. And that day, I apologized to that and my entire team. And I said, you know what? I made a mistake, and I'm sorry. I was stressed, and you don't need a doctor's note if you're sick. And I learned so much in that moment. And so that, amongst many other things, really started shaping me as a leader. I ended up, the company asked me, I loved training and developing people. The company asked me to go into the office. I became a training manager. I hated the job because I was writing all day. And what was missing was the connection between people, business, culture. So I end up stepping into HR. I go on to become a director. And at some point, my performance was excellent on paper, but I wasn't getting promoted to become a vice president. And I wanted to become a vice president at this point. And the company invested in a coach for me. And she changed my life. She got me to see things in myself that were blind spots or strengths that are also opportunities. And she said certain things to me that made me pause, like, Dora, what happens if you don't get it all done in one day? And I literally thought,
That's not an option, or
like legitimately thought that that's not an option. What do you mean I don't get it done in one day? Right, here I am at this point, maybe I'm in my early 30s. And so then she said, anyway, she got me to the point where she changed my life because she got me to understand that at that stage, to become a vice president, it wasn't so much about my agenda anymore. It was about the people that I supported. And that's all she had to say, and a light bulb changed in me. And then from that point on, I got promoted. I was with 9 West. At that point, I was married. I was divorced myself. My children were young. And my daughter would say to me, you know, Mommy, they're going to put on your tombstone, you know, Dora Thagouras, she worked. And I thought, I need to change this. I need to take a break. So I took a break, literally resigned on my own. They threw me what felt like a living wake. I was there for 22 years. At this point, I was 44. And I thought I was going to take a moment. And then I got recruited by an amazing company, Yves Saint Laurent in New York City. And so then I was weighing the, okay, take break or raise my children. You know, what do I do?
that's
So
another big brand. That's got to be a hard choice.
huge brand, but my kids were now in middle school.
Okay.
I thought that, and again, I had a mother who worked 7 days a week. So I just always felt like I could do it all. I can raise my kids.
That's
I
your
can,
DNA. It's
I can
just work.
Yeah, I work, I raise my kids.
Yeah.
That's what I do. So I started with Saint Laurent, and this is where some of this pattern I started seeing in the workplace. So I go to this luxury brand with a beautiful heritage right before they're going to explode. And they're going to explode because Eddie Slimane, who used to work with Yves Saint Laurent, Yves Saint Laurent was his mentor. Eddie Slimane was his apprentice. He now is taking over the creative brand. And wow, we exploded. So I interview because somebody passes my resume, and I think, okay, now I'm a one person. I used to have a team of 12. It used to be, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of employees. Now I'm going to be one person, 10 boutiques, but it's going to be in the Americas. We're going to open in different countries. I'm like, I can do it. So I go into this brand, and I just do with all the leaders. I do what makes sense to me. You create a great environment. You communicate. And the leaders that were there shared some of these similar philosophies. So, and then you create onboarding. What happened a lot of times for me is I would walk into places, they'd have the right ideas, but they wouldn't know how to implement them into a process and then stick to that process. So that's what I did. And what happened was our engagement grew, and they would ask us to onboard presidents from other companies because they would see on paper that our employees loved working for the Americas.
The secret sauce somehow.
Yes, but to me, it's taking care of people. It's communicating with people. Long story short, everything rose, did so well, and then there's leadership changes. And then I start seeing this pattern also in corporate America. A CEO changes, they change out their senior leadership team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm impacted by that change, and I'm okay with it because at this point, I think I need to actually spend some time with my children. And that is when in about 2017, 2018, I, because I'm a learner, I want to always be learning. So I want to take this break, but I can't be completely taking the break. I immerse myself into a coaching program, and I specifically choose IPEC, Institute of Professional Excellence in Coaching, because not only do I want to be certified and have the tools as a coach, they have what's called an Energy Leadership Index Master Practitioner certification. For somebody like me, that's like dreamy.
Yeah.
I want that. I want that because how do you show people on paper how they're showing up? It's hard, right? I don't have a million tools. Yes, there's these assessments that are out there, but how somebody is thinking to be able to put that on paper and say this.
And I have to say, that was a differentiator. We've had a lot of other coaches on the show, but when I looked at your website, the anabolic
and catabolic energy,
it kept increasing, with each level.
Yes.
And I found that fascinating. Maybe talk a little bit about how that works.
Okay. So there are two types of energy that we create through our thoughts. Our thoughts create a feeling, which will create an action or a result. There are 7 levels. So anabolic energy is one and catabolic energy is the other. Anabolic energy, when we are thinking in a way that is creating anabolic energy, we feel good. We are creative. We are productive. There's no resistance. That's what you could say, what you could term as flow.
When you're in the zone.
You're in the zone, right? You're not worried. You don't have anything in the back of your head. You're just at your best. You're firing on all cylinders. And that has to do with the way that we're thinking about a situation, okay? Catabolic energy, and what I also want to say is they're both natural, and we're going to think anabolically and catabolically or some combination thereof all day long. Catabolic energy is the opposite. It's resistant. It's distracting. It's creating hormones in your system like cortisol. Adrenaline is running through your system. So you can think fight or flight, or you can think victim. And we all do. There's times where we think this way. So each of us has an energetic profile, which will show up in these 7 levels of energy, and it has to do 100% with our belief system. But a belief is only a thought that you've been thinking about for a very long time. You can change those beliefs or change your perception of a situation, which will release that catabolic energy, etc. So we have a way that we show up. It's your energetic profile. And if I gave you each an assessment, you would have an energetic profile. Then what you would also be able to see is what happens when you perceive stress, where you go. So typically we're going to a victim sort of thought pattern, or I'm going to fight. Fight my way. It's that person's fault, right? That something happened. And then you have an average resonating level of energy, an ARL, and that number is statistically significant as to how satisfied you are with all the key areas of your life. So what, right? At the end of the day, so we have this information. Well, we can affect it. We can raise our overall energetic average resonating level of energy. Why would we want to do that? Because we would be spending more time in anabolic energy. What does anabolic energy produce? It produces creativity, productivity, new ideas, creation, etc. Innovation.
Yeah.
And I teach my clients, how to do that. That awareness, you can't forget. Yeah. I had my assessment back in 2017 or 2018, and I remember thinking, how do they know? How do they know that this is exactly how I think? And I think about it every day. So when I'm having an argument with my fiance, he will remind me that I'm in level 2 and I need to change. And I was like, he's so right, because under stress, I go to level 2. Maybe it's because I grew up with a brother and I had to fight for myself. Who knows? So
we also revert under stress to, like our habits, and they might not be good ones, but
correct.
It happens in golf. And I'm only going to use that analogy. It's like I could take a lesson, I could know what to do. But if I'm under pressure or I hit a bad shot and now I'm stressed out, I'll revert to my old swing. There's something that happens when we're under stress.
Yes. It's a default tendency,
default.
right? It's a default tendency. And it just takes some time and new habits and new behaviors to no longer do that, right? Or you might slip back. It's okay. It's practice. Like anything, it's practicing on ourselves.
And awareness, like I know what I did. Now I know what I'm supposed to do kind of a situation. But I don't want to gloss over that entrepreneurial moment. You got the certification.
Sorry.
And then you said, "Hey, I'm going to start my own company."
Yes, launched my own practice. Called it Clarity 13. Started working with individuals. Didn't matter who they were. I just wanted to help them.
Can I ask what the 13 stands for?
You sure can. So clarity is clear, right?
Yep.
Clear. So the truth is. All right. So think about when I first launched it, not today, how I work with business owners and CEOs and leaders, but back then it was coach people who just need help, right? So I knew it was going to be Clarity. I'm in the middle of Times Square, and I'm actually there because I'm doing some HR consulting along the way. And it just hits me. In the middle of Times Square, I'm like, it's 13. I knew Clarity needed another name. I mean, this is the truth. It needed something else with it. It can't just be Clarity. It's Clarity 13. And I pick up the phone, and I know why it's 13. Well, number 113 is absolutely my number, okay? And then one could say, well, 13, it's unlucky, right? Jorge, you could be like, 13's my unlucky number.
Right, aren't there some elevators that don't have
the floor 13? Yeah. Well, so
what were you saying, Jorge? It's the what?
No, but there's like a whole thing, especially where you'll have
Isn't it in Asian culture?
French culture.
French,
actually,
okay.
Where it's like they have the 13th floor isn't like put on there because they have the chaussée, so it's like
it's a French word that you're trying to.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
give us some clarity on 13.
even more of the reason, which is why I called it 13, because which is true? Is it lucky or is it unlucky? Which is true?
Whatever you believe.
Bingo, which is mindset. So that's why it's Clarity 13. Whatever we believe, we were just talking about belief system, right? If you believe that something is a certain way, it is for you. So
whether you can or whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Exactly right. So that's how we got to 13. When I relaunched, so I ended up getting recruited again. and then things wrapped up at the last company that I was at. And I said, this time I absolutely want to help business owners, CEOs, and leaders. But I needed to build Clarity 13. Not everybody gives me the luxury of time like this to share, and I wanted it to make sense. So I built it into the business. I work with my clients for 13 sessions over approximately a 6-month period every other week. So it's built into Clarity 13, 13 sessions, 7-step process, 13 sessions.
Okay, I like it. And maybe give us a success story, a place where you came in and just, turned it around and saw some measurable changes after they hired you.
Okay, so I'll use
And we'll to protect the innocent, we'll leave the brand names out.
Okay, perfect. So I'll use a small business success story. So I work with small and mid-sized businesses. Predominantly, that's who hires me. And it was a business that the leader was a professional. Disclose it was a dental practice. So here in a dental practice, you have somebody who is a professional by nature, right? They are not taught necessarily how to lead. They're taught how to take care of our teeth, right? So she ended up buying, first she hired me, this client who is a close friend of mine at this point. She originally hired me years back when I first launched the practice to help her have enough confidence to actually buy a practice, to get back into dentistry. She was a stay-at-home mom, ended up getting divorced, and wanted to go back and help people. So she hired me back then to buy a practice. And when she bought that practice, we celebrated. It was this big thing. She was just so proud of herself. And then she hired me again when I relaunched to help her create that clear, positive, healthy, and successful workplace. So what I loved about working with her is she just raised her hand. She's like, I don't know how to lead. I don't know how to be a business owner. I know how to fix your smile from the inside out. So she has had a total team of 4, and we started from the beginning, which meant, doing a deep dive with her, creating where does she want to go? What does she want her employees to feel like when they're in the workplace? What outcomes does she want from all of that? So that was early on. And then I actually, because it's a small team, you can kind of consider it her leadership team. Everyone got that ELI assessment and a debrief. And then I'm able to and did pull the whole team together and got them to see firsthand. This is how you are all showing up as a team, not only individually. Everybody understood how they're contributing, but this is how you're showing up as a team. And this is a team that had a lot of, these are caregivers. They have a lot of anabolic energy, but this is where they go under stress. And I said, when you are all in this level 1, how are your patients feeling when they're sitting in that chair? So they got to see that
tension probably gets passed on to them. They're in the chair like.
Tell me you don't feel everything
Exactly.
when you're in that chair. Yeah. You're like hyper alert.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was things like that, creating the right meetings, like meetings, what we should be. They were good about doing like a morning huddle, but there weren't any monthly staff meetings. There weren't any tying the revenue goals, backtracking it into achievable, like 3 things that they're going to work on as a team, and tying the roles, each person's contribution to achieving those goals. And that's a lot of what we did. So today the business is, I think they're celebrating their 5th year in business. And I go to them and, I get to feel the anabolic
you have
energy.
Teeth, so
thank you.
They're doing a good job.
So I get to, this is somebody that I see on a regular basis, and I'm in their chair and it's working, and I still coach her to this day. And now a lot of times it's about, having the right, like they haven't had a lot of turnover with the exception of 1 role. And I definitely know this last person is the right person on the team. So success story from not having anything really to.
That's a great one.
Yeah, that's the first one that I
So I would say folks need to think of this as an investment in their business when they hire you.
100%. An investment in them and their business, right? Their business is them. Whether you are a solopreneur or you have a team of hundreds or thousands, it starts at the top. It always does. You cannot blame people that work for you. You set the pace, and it goes beyond work. It affects your whole life when we feel good. And that means taking care of ourselves. And I know that you believe in that. It's one of your top 3 things. When you invest in yourself and hiring the people, the coaches, the physical coaches, the spiritual coaches, the business coaches, we're not all perfect. And I have a philosophy of hire experts. Hire the experts. You do you. You work in your flame, not in your wax. That's a BNI, Dr. Meisner. I have that in my head. It's like, I don't want to work I want to work in my flame. This is my flame. And I want to hire other people to help me with my wax, the things that I'm not so good at. Having a coach is having somebody who genuinely cares about you and wants you to be your best and is going to have the tough conversations with you.
Absolutely. I love it. What's the best way for folks to learn more or contact you for consultation and all that other good stuff.
Probably the easiest way is clarity13.com. That's my website. I love to do complimentary consultations where you can have a sense of what I do and me. It's really important. The coaching relationship is a really important relationship, and you will need to be vulnerable. So meeting me ideally in person, if not over Zoom or Teams or something. So clarity13.com is the easiest way to find me. I'm also on LinkedIn under that or Dora Thagouras, and also I am Clarity13 on Instagram and Facebook, Clarity13.
Awesome. I'm so glad I met you at that M&T Bank event.
Me too.
Yeah, we hit it off, and I'm so glad you made some time to come out and be on our show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate both of your time. I know that this, it's easy for you guys, but I know that it's an investment, and I really appreciate it.
Well, you're going to help tons of people, and that's ultimately our goal is to help other businesses, and I think we're doing that very much in this show.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to this episode of Mission Control. Until next time, this is your host, Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design, and we launch brands.